Why did an old school note end up rewriting everything I knew about my family? My childhood Sundays always looked the same. My mom cooked a big meal, my dad set out 4 plates instead of 3, and right at 5 o'clock, our former guidance counselor, Mr. Rowley, would knock on the door. Dad called him the reason he stayed in school, the reason he avoided trouble, the reason he became somebody. There was even a framed photo of them in our hallway, both grinning with their caps and gowns. Dad stopped in front of it often, touching the frame like it was sacred. That man saved me, he always said. So when I found the first note tucked inside a battered history book during class, it felt as if the floor shifted under me. The message was written in faint, hurried lines. If you found this, stay away from Rowley. He follows girls after study hall. He did it to me. Nobody believed me. There are more notes hidden in the old cabinet in the science wing. Be careful. He watches everything. I read it several times. The words carried a fear that didn't feel made up. I held the paper until my fingers tingled. When I showed it to Dad that night, he barely glanced at it. Kids stir trouble when they're bored, he said. I've known that man my whole life. He would never do something like this. He walked off before I could answer. That pushed me to look where the note told me. In the back of the science wing, behind a cart no one had moved since forever, I found another message wedged between 2 textbooks. He locked the door and told me no one would believe me. Another note said, my friend tried to warn people. He punished her with referrals until she had to switch schools. A third read, if I tell, he says he'll ruin my record. I think he can. 3 different girls, 3 different voices. I took them all home. This time my dad didn't dismiss them. He read them slowly, his jaw tight, his hand shaking just a little. But instead of saying what I hoped he'd say, he set the papers down and muttered, I should talk to him. He'll explain. I tried everything to stop him, but he was already grabbing his keys. The next time Mr. Rowley came for dinner, he didn't bother hanging up his coat. He walked straight toward me as though he owned the air around us. He placed his hand on my upper arm, and the pressure made my skin crawl. Your father tells me you've been finding old scraps of paper, he said with a smooth smile that didn't reach his eyes. Students invent stories when they're upset. Best not to let it distract you. Then he leaned down, close enough that I felt his breath. A bright girl like you should know when to stop digging. He let go of my arm and walked to the dining table like nothing had happened. My dad didn't even notice. He sat chatting as if we were hosting a harmless family friend. I couldn't stay still. I ran back to school the next day and emptied the entire cabinet before anyone else could. I found 4 more notes. The last one made my throat tighten. He tanked my grades when I tried to report him. I lost my scholarship. He ruins anyone who talks. 7 girls. Across different years, different teachers, different counselors. I laid all the notes on my dad's desk. He stared at them for a long time, then said in a low voice, there was a girl in my class. Smart. Quiet. She disappeared one winter. He told me her family moved suddenly. Dad pressed both hands to his face. I believed him. He spent the next 2 days away from home. I didn't know if he was standing with me or standing with the man who shaped his past. Then came the senior ceremony. The auditorium was full. Parents clapped and chatted. My classmates shifted in their seats. Mr. Rowley stood on stage, speaking about leadership and dignity like he invented the words. The double doors opened. 2 officers entered. Their steps echoed as they walked down the aisle. The room grew still. Rowley's voice tightened, then faltered. When the officers reached the stage, one spoke quietly into the microphone. Sir, we need you to come with us. Rowley smiled at the crowd. Misunderstanding, I'm sure of it. But when the officer reached for him, he jerked back. Don't touch me. Do you know who I am? They grabbed him, and that was when he exploded. Where is your father? He shouted, whipping his head toward me. I built that man. He was nothing until I helped him. His voice cracked as they dragged him away, still thrashing and shouting. When I turned, I saw my dad standing in the back row. His eyes were fixed on me, and for once they weren't clouded by loyalty or old memories. He had finally chosen the truth over the man who once saved him, and that choice changed our family forever.